All right. Hello and welcome to the second episode of the Always a Patriot John Jay Soccer Podcast. I am Brendan Horton, joined as always, as we'll see, by Coach Robert Seipp. And how you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And we have a very special guest for our second podcast episode tonight. We have Ray Troche, former John Jay Soccer alumni, but that is important and that is critical. But Ray is a professional soccer player in the MASL for the Texas Outlaws, one of the best John Jay Soccer players to ever come through our program. As Coach and I talked about a little bit last week, one of our favorite players that we've ever had. So, Ray, welcome. And how's everything with
Yeah,
you?
thanks for having me. Everything's been good. Yeah, it's good to be back home.
How long are you home for now?
About 5 months till around November time.
Awesome.
That's around when
Okay,
preseason
great.
starts. Yeah.
That's great to hear. Okay. All right. Awesome. And we'll kind of talk about a little bit later what you're doing in that meantime and kind of get the word out about what you're up to back in, East Fishkill and Hudson Valley. So before we get started, just to kind of go through, I pulled last week, I had pulled it, the write-up that we had for you at the end of the season when we were kind of doing postseason awards and things like that. And just for, the players and parents and everyone who may not know much about you, I just want to talk about your senior season real quick at John Jay, and then we'll kind of see how you got there and what you've done since then. And the fall, Ray led our team in completed passes, 571, and only had 39 incomplete passes. All right, he only had 47 dispossessions on the dribble, so a total of 86 total dispossessions, 94% completion on his passes, playing center mid, leading our team in touches, led our team with 121 total takeaways. So only turned the ball over 86 times and led our team with 121 total takeaways. Was the only player on our team to have a plus ratio in that, more takeaways than giveaways. Despite being the touch leader on our team, only accounted for 9% of our team's total turnovers. Was our best possession player, our best kind of attacking player in that area, was our best defensive player, and at the same time was our most fit player. And we kind of mentioned last week when players are like, what are you looking for from me? That's basically it, right? Like a guy who's a massive contributor offensively, our best player defensively on a team that was really good defensively, and also our most fit player. Ray scored 6 goals. 4 of them were from outside the box. 3 of them were on set pieces. I don't know if you still hit that knuckle dip ball that you did then, but I know Coach and I loved it. And the big thing here I had here is Ray had 0 cards and 0 warnings from referees the entire season. Like, what more can a coach ask for than that out of a player? So, what do you have anything to say about that, Coach? Or
I'm surprised about that, actually.
Listen, no, Ray, you were the best. We loved coaching you. We loved having you. We were just crushed and devastated that we couldn't win the section with you. But yeah, you were such a good kid, such a good player, and we miss you. And we're not surprised at all now that you're playing, with the Texas Outlaws. So
Thank you.
congratulations.
I miss you guys too.
well, you're welcome anytime, Ray. We'd love to have you. Maybe we'll talk later. But so Ray, we Coach and I have a pretty good kind of on the pulse about our younger players and when they're coming up. But coming into your freshman year, I don't think either of us had ever seen you play. I don't remember ever seeing you play prior to watching you play on JV. And it wasn't even really us. It was Coach Fulton who brought it to our attention. Just he was like, there's this kid on JV who's just unbelievable. And, it made us kind of piqued our interest. So just you talk a little bit about kind of what you did, your soccer kind of playing life before coming to John Jay, like before you
Yeah,
got to us.
I started off at East Fishkill Soccer Club, the intramurals, and then after a year of that, I went into travel for East Fishkill Pythons, and there was a few years where I'd tried out for this team, East Fishkill United, like 4 years in a row. The year above me, where I had a bunch of friends playing with them too. Every year I got cut, and I couldn't. I mean, even after I thought I had a good tryout, I would still get cut, and I was like, man, like I don't even really want to play at a higher level or at least with older guys. And after all those little failures, my dad was doing research and he found other clubs and we found Quick Strike when they were just starting the boys program over there. I joined it when they were first starting and we were really bad. And after a few years, I mean, we improved a lot and the trainings were like a lot more intense too. And even I remember at first, in my first training, I was like, man, like, I don't know if I can do this, even though we weren't like that great of a team. Our Coach Julian, would like push us really hard, and I was like, I told my dad, I was like, I don't even know if I want to go anymore. But he's like, just try, keep trying. I stuck with it, and eventually we got a bunch of great players like Berto and Austin and John and all those guys. Then we just kept on building momentum, and eventually we became a team that just won tournaments and all kinds of things, and traveled around the U.S. and it was great. But I mean, I played Van Wyck too. I also played Van Wyck 7th and 8th grade. But I wasn't even that. I wasn't great back then. I was always the kind of guy that just like, I mean, I was one of the worst soft players throughout that time. And even my first year for JV, I was always like one of the fitter guys, but I wasn't like a star player or anything. And I feel like partially I was like hitting puberty and I was still growing and I was growing into my body. But I remember going into sophomore year, I was like, I really want to try out for varsity and just see what happens because I don't know, anything could happen. I just knew how important the fitness was. That was like all I heard about fitness. I also heard about like being strong and all that. But yeah, I just really worked on what I could control, and a lot of it was fitness and just trying to work on playing quicker. But I would run every day on the rail trail because I live literally I could run to the rail trail from my house, and I would just run on that. I would run, do the mile in 6 minutes, do the 2 mile in 12 minutes. And I would just do that, try to run every day. And eventually, I got to the point where I knew that my 2 mile time was perfect, and I would run below 12 minutes, and I knew that that would help me, but obviously I still had to perform when varsity tryouts came up. And so, yeah, when we did fitness, I killed it and I did all right in terms of the soccer and everything. I was still learning from there. But yeah, I mean, that's my story going into varsity and everything. And then obviously everything else happened after that. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think that you sell yourself a little bit short there. Maybe Coach can talk about a little bit more from what he remembers when first seeing you and in that while you were at John Jay. But I think you were very fit, but you were a hell of a player from the first time that I saw you play.
thank you.
Yeah, listen, I think I think it's a great story, Ray. I didn't know, that you were a part of the East Fishkill Travel Program and trying out for the United team. I remember that United team, a very good team, right? Brian Finellis was on that, George Krajewski was on that. That was a good team. And shocking today, knowing you today, that you weren't good enough to make that team. But just such a credit to you for just continuing to work, and a credit to your dad for trying, some different clubs and some different options to see, what you could do to improve and what you can do to get better. And then just that internal drive that you have, like you say, just you getting out on the rail trail. I totally believe that, because when we saw you as a sophomore, right, Coach, we would have guessed you were one of the best players growing up in East Fishkill, that entire time. And as Coach said, we did not know you. We have a pretty good idea of players in the East Fishkill soccer program and players that are at Van Wyck and on the J team. And you definitely caught us by surprise. But Coach, what a pleasant surprise it was to get him sophomore
Yeah,
year. And I believe, Ray, you started at center mid sophomore, junior, and senior year,
Yeah.
right? So you were just fantastic for us. And like you say, so fit, but you were still so good on the ball, good with both feet, really had a good tactical awareness of what we needed to do with the ball, what you needed to do defensively. You, in our mind, was just such a great high school soccer player. We loved coaching you and loved having you a part of our team. And I just love the story of, you getting cut
Yeah.
4 times from United, but today you're a professional player, right? And I think that just sends a message to anybody out there, regardless of whether you're a soccer player or not. If you want something bad enough, just work for it. Do everything you can to achieve those goals, and it's certainly happened for you. Couldn't be more
Yeah, I
proud of
appreciate
you.
it.
yeah. For me, hearing Ray that you weren't the best like U8 player is shocking to me, and I think it's like a bias that we have that like when you're as good as you were at 15, 16, 17, 18, a lot of times the assumption is yeah, like you must have been really really good throughout. And I remember, that quick strike team that you were on was very good. And, I had kind of probably built up a story in my head about you just being good
Mm.
forever, but it's so awesome to hear that story about, you kind of overcoming wanting to push yourself initially, because that's a drive that like a lot of kids don't have. And then, you seeing that fitness, was kind of a key to get in, and then the quality of your play. Like Coach Seipp said, your tactical understanding of what to do was so high. And there were so many times I remember when Coach and I'd be sitting next to each other on the bench, and you'd play a ball, and when all these other players would immediately run forward, you would fake the forward and come back and receive the ball back and switch play. You controlled our pace and our play, and in a way that I don't know that we've had since then. Because it was just unbelievable to have a rock that we could rely on like that, who was so good in all aspects of the field. So I love hearing that. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. That was awesome. So you played with us for 3 years, started for 3 years. You were our league 1A Player of the Year award as a senior, and we're all section. And I think had we not been eliminated, you would have had higher individual accolades as well. I think that our kind of failure as a team to go further impacted your awards, unfortunately. And not that we focus on those things. Coach and I, all we ever talk about is winning section and state titles, but it is nice to see players get accolades that they're deserving of, and you certainly were. So you were fantastic at John Jay. You graduate from John Jay, and it's right in the middle of the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. So talk about, after graduating John Jay, kind of what did you do and where did you go and kind of what happened?
After I graduated, I went to St. Rose for a year, and it's during COVID and everything, so we had to wear the masks, and we didn't actually have a real season. Actually, it got like canceled, but we had friendlies, and we were still training like 4 times a week. I mean, we were treating it like as if it didn't get canceled, and it was a good experience. And I played with guys that were. I mean, I was one of the younger guys in my class. My roommate was 21 years old, and I was, 18 going into it. So I mean, I was a lot of international guys too that like really pushed me. And I mean, I was just playing with a lot of guys. I was playing with men, and it's a lot different. It was a big jump from John Jay and just club in general. Yeah, I just after the second semester, I just realized, I was like, I don't think this is gonna be the right fit for me, because I wasn't willing to drop all the money to stay for 4 years there. And the experience I had, I was like, I feel like I could do this for cheaper. So after St. Rose, I did online with Monroe Community College, and I got my associates. And I was just bouncing around with semi-pro teams for a bit, and I played USL 2 with FC Malaga, and they changed to Pathfinder. And I was just bouncing around, and my goal was always to play professionally. I was like, if I could like do that while doing school, I'll try it. And online was saving me money. So I was like, I'm going to just do online. So I got my associates at MCC Monroe. And after that, I was deciding if I should go play D3 or D1 or whatever I could get, really. I was talking to schools like Cortland and Oneonta, but I wasn't even really that interested in it, because I felt like it was just going to like delay what I wanted to do. So I just did online with Oswego and I trialed with teams. I trialed with Utica City. That's another MASL team, and I got into preseason with them, and I eventually got cut. And I just kind of took it as like a learning experience, because I was one of the youngest guys there. And I mean, yeah, I just kept on jumping around semi-pro teams. I played a little bit with Stockade, and eventually I saw that the combine was coming up, and it was a good opportunity. Some people get signed from the combine, so I decided to do it. And I mean, it worked out. I went to a team that was kind of rebuilding, and I just found myself in a good, yeah.
Can I ask I want to ask about kind of that process, because, I had never heard of the MASL before you getting drafted, and then kind of researching it and everything like that. Was that something that you were aware of? Is it something that you had considered? Like, were you playing futsal and stuff like that? Or was it just an opportunity that you saw, to possibly break in, professionally? So
Yeah, so
you
when
did
I
it.
was doing online with Oswego, I went to Montenegro. That's where my mom's from, for about 3 months, and played futsal over there. And I just like really liked it. I was looking for ways I could play futsal back in the U.S., but they don't have a professional league in the U.S., or really like many leagues at all. So I looked up the MASL, and I found it, and It's basically similar to futsal in a lot of ways, but different in that it has walls and it's like in hockey arenas usually. But yeah, I mean that's how I found out about that, and I did all the research and I just like really liked it and watched the games. I thought they were entertaining, so I was like, I might as well try to get in one of the teams over there because I feel like I'm just gonna have fun doing it too. So
All right. So oh you register for their combine, and then what was that process
I
like?
registered for it, and I had to like send like a resume and everything, and then you get like an invite, and it was in California, San Diego. So I went there for it was probably about 4 days, and we're just literally first it's just learning the rules because it's actually so much different than like regular soccer. Even futsal, it's different then. Yeah, we just learned the rules and then played games for 3 days, just playing as many games as possible in front of all the coaches and everything. And on the last day, they do a draft, and I think it was like 32 teams or something like that, or 32 rounds, not 32 teams, only 12 teams. I don't know, something like that. But there's 3 rounds, and I got drafted in the second round to Texas. So yeah, and then from there, I mean,
And
yeah,
did Ray, did you know that that was going to happen, or was that a surprise to you? Do you have an agent that sort of tipped you off that they were going to draft
no,
you?
I didn't have an agent, but I did talk to the GM for Texas. Like there was one game where he literally came up to me when I was on the bench for one of them, and he was like telling me he likes what he sees. He was asking me where I'm from, where I've played, and I told him I've got experience playing futsal in Montenegro, and he just, I mean, he just gave me hints, and we talked a little bit more throughout as well. But I was still a little bit surprised. I mean, I was just hoping to get any team. To be honest, any opportunity would have been great for me. With that, you're guaranteed to go to preseason with the team, and really from preseason, it's just about how you perform and adapt to learning like the new rules and everything.
And then how did that go? Like when they brought you in for preseason, how did that
It
process
was
work?
kind of messy because this team that I went to was like completely rebuilding. They just got a new coach, and they had to push back preseason, and it was messy at first, but like throughout like the preseason and everything, it got more organized, and they narrowed down the group because usually, I mean, there's a lot of people at first, and they just keep making cuts and cuts and cuts until they have a group that they're satisfied with. But yeah,
So how many guys you think started? How many guys you think started in that initial preseason workout? And then how many guys do they have on the roster today?
I think it was like honestly probably around like 40 guys at first, and the final roster was just 26. But yeah,
Wow, cool.
Of those 26, how many guys play in a match? It's significantly less, right?
I think you can roster up to 16, and it's pretty likely that everyone's gonna play, but I don't know. Every team does it differently because some guys won't play even though they're rostered for a game.
Okay. It was interesting, my first viewing of it. I remember playing that style of indoor soccer when I was young in those hockey type arenas, and as a goalkeeper, it was terrible. But then it kind of a lot of the club soccer went away from that. So seeing that and seeing the rules, I thought the first time I tuned in, the announcers did a good job explaining the rules about the goalkeeper only being able to touch it a certain number of times without going over midfield, and who's allowed to go where, and then to see the subbing kind of on the fly. It was really, really interesting. And like you said, it's really exciting and fun. And I found myself really enjoying watching it, even prior to you kind of making your debut and playing. But when you finally made your debut, Coach and I were like
Yeah.
locked into the screen. Talk about what that was like. Kind of, you were with the team for
Mhm.
months, and then debuted towards the ends of the
Yeah, I
season.
mean, I was looking to play for so long. Like I was just waiting for my opportunity, and I would always be asking the coaches like, "What do I got to do? What do I got to do?" And they would basically just tell me I'm. They were telling me I'm too aggressive. They would tell me because you can only give up I think 4 fouls in a game, and they were just telling me like you just gotta like tone it down a little bit because I was starting to get the hang of it about halfway through the season. Yeah, those last few games, I mean, I really wanted to play in the Utica game. That was like all I was looking to do, and I literally like texted the coach. I was like, Like I'm ready to go. Like, I've got family. I'm gonna have people coming to the game, whatever. Yeah, like I just did everything I could to make sure I play in that game, and I got the call up. So I was like so happy. And then when I got to the game, I was like, I mean, the Baltimore, because I played in Baltimore first, and I was like, dude, this is crazy because there was so many fans, and I mean the arena too is people were like up in the stands that you can't even see it on the camera. Just before the game, they had a whole show, and it was just crazy. I mean, it's a real experience. It was the first time I ever really been like heckled, and literally someone was like, I mean, number five, and they just cursing me out, blah blah blah, fans, and I'm like, this is awesome, like, because I never really got like that kind of experience, so it was good. Definitely nerves going into it. I was definitely nervous, but I just try to play simple and just do what I do what I've been learning. So
So it was interesting when I was watching that first game. The first thing that I noticed when watching it was like, this is the same Ray that I remember. You play
yeah,
the same way, you move the same way, you prioritize that possession. You play in the back now,
yeah,
right? In that formation, you guys play like a
hmm
2-3, so you're a defender in that set, and you could kind of see the nerves. You committed a
hmm
couple of
yeah,
fouls early on, but it kind of, you watch you settle down, and then in Utica, it was definitely, you could see that you had shaken some of that kind of nerves, but it's interesting to hear about being heckled and everything like
yeah,
that. That's stuff you don't necessarily
hmm
think
yeah, yeah.
about.
It was different. It was different. The only two games I played in were away games.
And now what about the
Yeah,
future? And now what about the future? Did the coaches meet with you after the season? Did they give you things to work on? What's the plan going
yeah.
forward
I'm still in contact.
with
I
Texas
mean,
anyway?
we have a group chat with all the guys, and I mean, they told me just we had like end of season meetings, and they just told me try to play indoor or futsal as much as possible. Make sure you stay sharp, fit, and just be ready for preseason. Because really, I mean, nothing's guaranteed. It's every preseason. I mean, even with a
Right.
contract, they can cut you like that. And like if you come to preseason and you're not ready, you're not fit, they'll just cut you because there's guys that are going to be ready and fit. So it really comes down to just how you do in preseason.
So what are you doing to get ready, to get fit, or is it still too
No,
early now? Are you
I
just
trained
taking some
today.
time off, letting your body recover?
I'm literally just working on things that I need to work on, working on weak foot stuff, working on playing out of the back, long balls, first touch passes, all that kind of stuff, and running. But yeah.
And do you have somebody feeding you balls? How do you do that?
Oh,
Who do you train with?
no, not really. I mean, for the most part, I either go to Limekiln and use the wall, or I'll there's like a court in Poughkeepsie. It's like donated by Tyler Adams. I'll use that too, and it's a really good place to train both of them,
Wow.
honestly, because you don't even. I mean, you can do whatever you want, and you don't need anybody else to do it.
Right.
Yeah, that Poughkeepsie venue is only a couple years
Yeah,
old. It's awesome.
it
It's
is.
awesome.
I was there today.
Nice. So, you're doing that individual training, but what's team training for you guys look like? Because we for our program at John Jay, we're trying to kind of paint a clearer picture for our players of what training should look like. Because we have a lot of guys who will show up at the turf at Jay and shoot penalty kicks for an hour, or juggle or hit some balls, and then they'll say, "Well, I'm training every day," and that's not necessarily preparing them for the pressure and the speed that's required to play at any sort of game or competitive level. So I just was wondering if you could talk about what, real training for that speed, and not just necessarily, yeah, we out working on our weak foot. That's great. But what is that to train to be able to play at that professional level
I
look
think,
like?
I mean, in the off season, you got to be playing with. I mean, especially when you're in high school, you got to try to play with people that are better than you. Like that's all I did starting off, like right out of high school, and you got to try out for the Hudson Valley Hammers or Stockade or other teams. And even if you don't make it, it's like at least you're getting better or you're playing with better players. And also just playing pickup, literally just doing pickup. Winner stays on, get three teams, and the winner stays on. Who wants to lose that? So I mean, just trying. I think that the guys at Jay should literally just be playing pickup in the off season with each other and just trying to make each other better in that and just try to be competitive.
I love the winner stays on kind of model like
Yeah.
that. That's how, basketball gets played and everything like that. And I think what that does is it makes people work harder, right? Because what we found is when our players are going and playing pickup, it's not very competitive. It's not very fast. It's not very, I don't think they're getting out of it what I've seen you get out of it when you and,
Oh,
Berto
yeah.
and Connor and those guys were coming to Jay and playing small sided with one another. The intensity and the kind of focus seems to have huge lapses
Yeah,
from
we
what
try
I
to take
see.
it serious because I don't really like to just joke around if we're all gonna come out here at a certain time. I mean, like, especially nowadays, everyone's out of college and stuff. It's like we all have like stuff to do. So if we're gonna come out and play, I want it to be like serious. Like if like winter stays on and bragging rights and all that, we're playing for all that. So if you're losing, I'm gonna make fun of my buddy that's losing because like why can't you? I've been on the field for 5 rounds. You can't get my team off. And you don't want to be on a team that's off. That's just boring watching people play.
So Ray, when you don't have that opportunity to play with other guys and play pickup, what are you doing individually? Like, what are you doing when you go to the wall with the soccer ball? What are you doing specifically in terms of running and fitness? Give us some real specifics of like what Ray Troche's doing when it's just you and you don't have an opportunity to play pickup with other guys.
I mean, like today, I was literally just working on long balls with my weak foot, driven long balls with my weak foot. I mean, I think it's good to just.
So you're driving that into the
uh,
wall?
Today, I did it at the
You're
Tyler
driving
Adams
those
court,
balls
so
into the wall?
you have more space to actually do a long ball. But I mean, same thing with the wall
Right.
too. I mean, all you really need to do is pick something that you're not like you think you need work on, and just work on it. Like just literally do that for as long as you can until your leg is really hurting or something, and then just do it again the next day, or work on some other thing that you need to work on. But that's all I did today. Yeah, I mean, usually
Just working on long balls with your weak foot
that's all I
today?
did
Yeah.
today. But yeah, you could also just, I mean, what I would do a lot, especially like for varsity and stuff, even when I was like a sophomore, you just kick it against the wall. And as a midfielder, you got to work on turning and like getting clean turns off. So, I mean, you just kick it, try to get a clean pass and then just clean turn, and just keep on doing it. And even if you want, you could add peaks, which you probably should. And yeah, that I mean, in this hot weather, you're gonna get a sweat off with that.
You remembered you're on here with Coach Seipp talking about taking
Yeah,
peaks.
You think that's important to me,
yeah, I know
Ray?
it is.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Something we definitely focused on for sure. But like Coach said, you did it better than anybody. It always looked like you had eyes in the back of your head. So doing stuff like that, training, banging a ball against the wall and trying to receive it and turn, I bet you spent a lot of time doing that because you could certainly do it in the game.
yeah, I still do it.
But and what about fitness wise? Did you do any fitness today?
I mean, my fitness today was just running after the ball. Once it like went into the chain net, I would just run after it, and
Right.
if you miss, you gotta run a little faster. If I'm yeah.
And what about the weight room? Do you go into the weight room, try to get
No,
stronger?
actually, I don't go to the weight room at all. Literally, I mean, I'll just do push-ups and like ab workouts, but I don't really go to the gym much. I think for me, I don't think I really need it anymore, but I think like when I was a sophomore, I mean, I was watching a game recently of when I played my sophomore year for Jay, and I was like so skinny. Like I mean, I played a lot. I played a lot, but I was definitely still growing into my body. I'd looked like a deer.
By the time you were a senior, you're built like a
Yeah,
linebacker, right?
Yes, true.
Which
Very
is like
true.
what certainly helps. And we tried to kind of explain to our guys that being big and strong and fast is super important. And I don't know if you were lifting back
I
then or
was.
if that's just developmentally something that genes, but being broad and big and being able to hold off defenders and being able to be a big presence has been huge for you, in my opinion, at least during high school. I think it's awesome that you don't have to do it anymore, but I think for the average person, they've got to be out there a ton, because not everybody is built with the body that yourself and like Alberto, who you played with, had, who was another Division I
Yeah,
soccer player.
yeah, yeah.
I see you, Ray, but I can't hear you. If you have issues, Ray, it's all right. I'm gonna plug your training stuff now and kind of go from there. We were kind of gonna wrap up soon, but I can't hear you. But as I was saying, you started what's called Troche football training now. I know that you've worked with the East Fishkill Rebels, Coach Axelson's team. And I know you're looking to look with other teams. If anybody is looking to get some training, direct training,
Is that coming out of your speakers, right?
is that coming out of your speakers, Ray? I think we hit a snag. Oh, all right. There's going to be a lot of editing to do here, Coach. I might not be able to get to this tomorrow, but we'll see. So he's doing Troche football training. I know he's worked with some East Fishkill teams already. He's doing one-on-one training. He's doing team training. I'm hoping he'll come and do some training with us. I plan on texting him and seeing what he's doing this Thursday night, if he's around or available, and hopefully we can kind of get the benefit of the stuff that he's been doing and have maybe his voice tell our players what they need to be doing, and maybe that'll be more impactful coming from a professional player than it is coming from you and I, who they hear all the time.
Yeah. So if there's parents listening or youth coaches listening that want to contact Ray, how do they do that? What's his email address?
So his email is Ray Tro, but it's RAYYTRO @gmail.com. And he's on Instagram at Ray Tro as well. And I believe he's at Ray Troche football training on Instagram as well. And if anybody has any interest at all, please feel free to reach out to Coach Seipp or myself if you're having any difficulty kind of getting in contact with them, and we will link you up with Ray, because you heard him talking about from square one the work ethic and the importance and things like that. And I would be so thrilled to have him training with any team, youth, high school, anywhere, just to get what they can out of him. Ray, can you hear us?
Sorry about that. I think I got kicked out.
All right, no, so that's okay. So while you were gone, we were just talking about Troche football training. Please tell everyone how they can reach you and get in touch with you to do either one-on-one or team training.
You can DM me on Instagram at Troche football training, or just my personal Instagram, AYYTRO. And if you even know me or have my number, you can do that as well. I've been trying to promote it a little bit on Facebook and Instagram, and Coach Axe too has been helping me out, so that's been good.
Yeah, we saw you did some training with the Rebels, his son's team, which is awesome, and hopefully more. And what I said while you were gone is, if anyone has any difficulty getting in touch with you, they can always get in touch with Coach Seipp and I, and we'll get them linked up with you, because I want as many people as possible to have the opportunity to be trained by a professional player, trained by one of the best players I've ever had the pleasure of knowing at the high school level, and to hopefully have rub off the values that you have, and it made you such a fantastic player on some of the younger kids.
And we lost him again there, Coach, maybe only temporarily, but what a great role model for young kids too, right? So if you're a youth coach or if you're a youth parent and, you're looking for somebody to work with your son or daughter, not only I think is Ray going to provide some tremendous, soccer, knowledge and talent, but, just what a great person, what a great role model, for any of the young kids out there. We love you, Ray. If you could hear us, we miss you, buddy.
And we miss you. Hopefully we'll see you very soon. I think with that, we'll probably wrap things up for tonight. I think I've got a bunch of editing to do ahead of me, so we'll see how it goes. But I don't know if you can hear us, Ray, but if you can, thank you so much for coming on. Hopefully we'll be able to have you on again in the future, maybe before you go back to your season in November and preseason and all that, and just find out what's going on, and we'll definitely be in touch and talk to one another.
And listen, congratulations, Ray. If you can still hear us, congratulations. Keep up all the good work. We're so proud of you, buddy. We love you.
Yeah, I love you so much, man. So great to see you doing so well. So that's episode 2. Thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in. Please let us know how we're doing, what you'd like to see in the future. Next week, we're going to have Lakeland coach Tim Horahan on as a guest, and we'll kind of get through some more of the learning process here, talk about the Lakeland Summer League. We'll talk about his Hudson Valley ID soccer college camp, and a lot of good stuff. So we're very excited to keep rocking and rolling here, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. All right.
So thanks again, Ray. Thanks so much for joining us, Ray. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Keep up the good
worries.
work.
Yeah, no worries at all, Ray. We'll definitely have you on again prior to going back to preseason, and we'll definitely be in touch and talk throughout the rest of the summer. All right.
Thank you.
So proud of you, Ray. Love you, man.
Yeah.
Take care, buddy.
Take care.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Yep. All right. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.